Welcome back, loyal fight fans, to Boxing. Eat that shit up. I am your humble host, Tummy Tom O'Neill, the human body snatcher, and I am back at it. We've had a long layoff here. I've been meaning to start doing these again, and today I'm kind of spur of the moment starting to do these again. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please tell a friend for us, especially if you know a friend who enjoys combat sports. They'd probably enjoy watching this. I am so glad to be back. This episode is brought to you by Bud Light. No, I'm just fucking around. That's just my drink there. I wanted to do this kind of spur of the moment just to get one of these out there. We're going to figure out a better day that will work for, having a day or 2 days when we'll do these, and that will come with time. But I'm going to make sure either way that I'm just starting these again when I have a little time to do them. Even ones like this that might be, even if they're a little bit shorter and a little bit more off the cuff, that's what we'll run with for now, because I very much miss doing these. We missed a lot of events here on Unboxing, on recapping. The betting using the MyBookie app has gone very well for me, so I do want to start. I've also been cautious about starting to share anything, because I'm being very real with you guys. But I've gotten a lot better at that for quite some time now. So eventually we'll incorporate even sharing some picks in here for you guys, as we've done before. Although, we haven't had the greatest track record with UFC. We have a pretty damn good track record with boxing, though. I think I can ride home on that all along. And so in that vein, we're going to talk boxing today. We're going to talk about this Charlo versus Castano fight that's happening tonight on Showtime. I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern time, because it's 6 o'clock here on the West Coast that the main card will start. And it's a pretty good card. For boxing, if you get a good main event that's very competitive, that right there is a score. And like this card, for instance, also has a really good co-main event as well. So you're really going to get your money's worth out of it. This is not an event you'd want to miss. So let me start here. My pick, Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castellano. I'm going to pick Jermell Charlo. I do have a parlay that involves Jermell Charlo winning as well. But the reason I really want to make this episode is not just, there's the fight, give him a pick, kind of that's it. I really wanted to emphasize that this is going to be a great matchup. This is a very competitive fight. If you know anything about boxing odds, they're not like MMA odds. In MMA, if you see a minus 250, a minus 300, you think, damn, that's a good favorite. That's usually what, like, for instance, what Khabib would be in his matchups. That's a lot of what kind of Amanda Nunes is, in her matchups. Valentina Shevchenko against some of her better opposition is kind of around that number. So that's a heavy favorite as far as MMA is concerned. As far as boxing is concerned, those odds are showing you that this is an extremely competitive fight where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, oh, well, just watch this. Because sometimes, I love boxing, but sometimes even when I watch and I'm intrigued in watching, I'll watch a fight because I like the fighter, because I think he's a good fighter or she's a good fighter. And really, me and a lot of people a lot of times you'll watch it more to see, oh, geez, I wonder, how good they'll look. I wonder if they'll be able to stop them. I wonder if they'll be able to show, improvements from last fights, if they're a younger up-and-coming kind of fighter. But this is one of those boxing events where you really you're not just watching and see, oh, how good's the guy that's the A side going to be, the guy that you just know is going to win. I wonder if he'll win by knockout, though. I wonder if he'll look better or worse than his last performance when he wins. This is a very competitive fight that you don't know what's going to happen. And I really want to emphasize that because Brian Castano is a very good fighter. He's 17-1 and I think 12 KOs. So that's a good record, coming in. A lot of times boxing, I want people to be undefeated, but, when you see guys like this, he has the one loss. It was a great performance, too, in a very close fight that I believe was a split decision. I know it was an ungodly competitive, fight, because I remember it when he fought Arislandi Lara. For those of you who don't know who Arislandi Lara is, you have to check that guy out. I'm very high on him. We like him here on Unboxing. Arislandi Lara has fought the best, beat a lot of the best, beat Brian Castano, but in a very close fight. I'm pretty sure it was a split decision as well. But this says a lot that that's his only loss, and it was so close that you could have argued that, he could have won that, even that fight. And Arislandi Lara is no joke. If you don't know who he is, I'd recommend you go watch when Arislandi Lara fought Canelo Alvarez, because that's when you got, as a huge Canelo fan, that is when you got one of those janky, questionable, Canelo scorecards, honestly, because I thought Arislandi Lara beat Canelo Alvarez. Anyways, that's Brian Castano's only loss, is to an incredible fighter in Arislandi Lara in a very close split decision. So he's a very competitive fighter. He's a brawler, action-style fighter. He likes to come forward, get his head in your chest. He'll eat some shots when necessary. He has some defense to him, but he's kind of like a Sean Porter-esque kind of fighter, where, he's slick enough. You have to be at that level of boxing. He's slick enough to, roll with some punches on the inside. And, he's not really slipping, but he'll roll with some, and some will graze, and he'll block. He can block quite a few shots, but he also eats shots. He's just that kind of a come forward style fighter. And when you're that way, it's hard to be extra defensive. So he definitely can get caught, by a boxer like Jermell Charlo, who is a very slick, good, counter puncher, countering off of angles. He's very good at slipping shots and countering with just perfect timing while they're throwing a shot. And he packs a punch. So right off the bat, yeah, I have Jermell Charlo winning. I even have a parlay going for tonight, among with other boxing matches and two UFC fights, where I have Jermell Charlo needing to win. But I'm just here to tell you, yeah, this is going to be a competitive fight. And this isn't just, watch the fight, but it's cool to see, Jermell Charlo. Check out Brian Castellano. A lot of you guys probably don't know who he is. He's a great fighter. He's a great boxer. And the thing is because he has this style, it's a styles always make fights. And this is, relevant to boxing, MMA. I don't like watch, wrestling, like real wrestling, like college wrestling, and stuff like that, or D1 but I'm sure that it's the same there. It just is what it is. The styles always make fights. That always applies, man. That's what makes the fight game so interesting, is that you can rarely have somebody who is just, this guy's all around better. You always need to see them fight the next guy, because look at the history of time, boxers, MMA fighters, anything. Guys have losses to people that you think, geez, like GSP's, arguably the best, people still have him up as arguably maybe he's definitely one of the best, if not the best, MMA fighter ever, right? And look at some of the losses that he suffered. It was like getting knocked out in the first fight by Matt Serra. No one saw that fucking coming. And Matt Serra, God bless him. I love that guy. Good old New Yorker. He's got a great attitude. He's funny, and he was always a very entertaining fighter. But nobody ever saw that coming. He doesn't have really a great resume. He doesn't. He has quite a few losses, and it's just like he doesn't even have other like great wins like that. Like that's his claim to fame, because no one saw it coming. But that's the thing, is styles make fights. He is by no means a better fighter overall or near the resume of GSP, but he was able to, to get that done. You have like Adesanya. Look at Israel Adesanya and all the people he's run through, at middleweight. Sure, he tried to move up and he lost that fight to Jan Blachowicz. But before then, he's just running, and after, he's ran through everybody in the look at how he just dispatched of Robert Whittaker. That was unreal. I mean, I'm an Adesanya fan. I won money on him winning that fight, but I was very nervous about that, man. And then the way that he just did it, like he's incredible. He's undefeated still at middleweight, and he's beaten every goddamn guy. But he almost got beat by Kelvin Gastelum, who has a very unimpressive resume. As a good fighter, he just doesn't have a great resume, but then he has, almost beating Adesanya, and he can ride home on that one good time knocking out Michael Bisping viciously. It's all about the styles make fights, anyways, is all I'm trying to say. So this is that kind of scenario. This is what I'm going to pitch to you. I'm going to offer you, like I said, I'm picking Jermell Charlo to win, but I'm going to offer you a world where Castano beats Charlo right now, because this is very likely. This is very, very likely, okay? And I'm going to tell you how it would happen if it is to happen. This is how it would go. Like I said, Castano is an in-your-face kind of fighter. Head in your chest, digging to the body, taking a shot, or trying to, slightly block a shot that you give, so he can crack you, right off of it on the counter. He's got slow counters, is what they call sometimes. They don't look like the cutest punches you've ever seen, but he's just an action style fighter, willing to eat one, to give one, and he does not lack volume. He is going to go in there, and no matter what, first off, I'm going to tell you this, no matter what, Jermell Charlo wins, Jermell Charlo knocks the guy out in the middle rounds even, or something. No matter what, guarantee you Castano is taking rounds. When this fight opens up, he will be taking some rounds away from Jermell Charlo, no matter what. And it will be simply because of like this Sean Porter kind of, as I refer to it, effect, where you're just seeing a guy come forward all the time, and you're not gonna see him missing ridiculously where your eyes can tell. Jermell Charlo is a very slick boxer. He's a much slicker boxer than Castano. So Castano's not going to necessarily be landing flush, huge shots all the time, but he's going to be walking him down. He's going to land to the body some, and he's going to land a couple to the head. And the ones that he doesn't land, even including the judges, you, me, anybody, until you'd watch it back several times, like a lot of boxing matches and fighters, you won't notice, the great defense and how, Charlo will roll with the shots, when they even come through his guard, and just how he will not get marked up too bad in there. You won't notice that. Your eyes will just, even for the judges, will naturally notice, Castano's forward pressure, and that he does land some shots, and some of them that he might not land so clean, will look like he's landing. And he's just going to have a high work rate in there. He's going to be working all the time and just throwing punch after punch. The volume intensity is going to be real from him. And again, to the styles make fights thing, who doesn't have any kind of volume at all? Jermell Charlo. He doesn't have any volume at all. This is his one and only, as far as we can see so far, downfall, is that, you could say he lost that fight, that first fight. It was a close fight, but I think he did lose. He avenged it, but that first fight against Tony Harrison, they didn't give that to him, and it was a very close fight, but you can't be mad that they didn't give that to him, man. You know why they didn't give that to him? Because he did land some good shots. You know, he definitely did. He landed some good counters, and the guy hits real hard. But you gotta throw a little more punches. You don't have, not every fighter's the same. You do not have to be a super offensive fighter. You know, not everybody's gonna be Mayweather in there. You know, Mayweather was so amazingly, you know, great at his defensive fighting that he would visibly, you know, as we talk, the aesthetics effect of seeing the fight, visibly you'd notice, wow, he's making that guy miss. You know, it's like the punch goes, he'd look back and fucking, you know, where'd that go? You know, you could see it, so you're like, wow, he's making a joke out of this guy. And then even times when when they'd have him against the ropes, you know, you'd see with the head movement how he crazy literally just makes them miss the whole shot. But that, not everybody's going to be able to be like that, man. So like Jermell Charlo's a great defensive fighter, but like I said, you gotta you gotta have a little bit of work rate. You don't need to be all volume, because I mean, he's not meant to be like that. He's a power puncher and a counter puncher, so he's not meant to be a come for, by definition. In being a counter puncher means you are not meant to be going forward and putting pressure on people. Your style is to absorb the pressure and wait for an opening, for a counter shot, and that's what he does. And Jermell Charlo does it very well, but he's not throwing enough punches, even with that style, a lot of fights. And some fights he'll lose a lot of rounds, and then he'll still just end up getting the guy out of there with a nice shot. You know, he came back, and that was kind of the case with the Tony Harrison rematch. That he beat him in the rematch, but in the first fight, it was this close fight. Sure, he landed those good shots, but he's just not, he's not throwing. And I mean, he has rounds, man, where he throws like 3-4 punches or something. Sometimes it's not enough. It's just not enough. And so the styles make fights thing, if you have another counter puncher, he's probably going to be better. And then they kind of both got to concede to meet in the middle, because they both don't want to be the guy. But then somebody gets a little bit of the better, sees a little opening. Like, maybe I at least have an opening for my jab is good. My jab can land, so we start there. And then somebody becomes the pressure fighter when you have two counter punchers. But the whole styles make fights thing, you're going to see a pressure guy in Castano pressuring Jermell Charlo. And I can see a world, man, where, again, Jermell Charlo just doesn't have enough output to do anything substantial. Now, I think that no matter what, I think that Jermell Charlo does land, some good counter shots that hurt Castano. Again, kind of no matter what. I'm sure that he lands that stuff, man, in the fight. But what I'm worried about is that, he is very powerful. So when he's looking for this perfectly timed shot, and sometimes this is why he doesn't throw so much. He's not just, I'm going to counter with the right hand and go in and throw that. He's sometimes this stuff, if he feels like he can't land it, then he just won't try. He just won't throw anything. And you gotta throw, you gotta just not sit around and wait for that perfect counter all the time, So if he does that, I'm worried that, I'm sure he'll get the shot eventually. But let's say he cracks, cracks Castano real good, right? What if he doesn't knock him out? If he doesn't knock him out, and, even if he hurts him, if he doesn't knock him down, and he goes, oh, shit. And then maybe they give him the round, and then it goes in the next round, it goes in, and it takes a round or two, and he'll land something good again, right? Off a counter. And he'll say, God, that's my perfect punch I've been waiting for. If it's not enough to knock a tough guy like Castano, out, certainly, or even down, to even knock him down, we're kind of in trouble from there. Because that's kind of all that Jermell Charlo offers a lot of times. I'd love to see him, it's good that he knows what he is. It's good that he knows that he's supposed to be a counterpuncher. But I just need to see, You know, it would be so simple. You know how hard it is to teach somebody to be like, oh, you know, to counterpunch so effectively. And then, you know, he has the strength, which you a lot of times you really can't teach that. You know, the power that a guy will just naturally carry. So he's got the tough parts down, man. You know what you can teach anybody? You know, just simple things. Pop your jab out there more, man. Not everything's got to be a hook off a counter. You know, pop your jab out there a little bit so that you're throwing something back, you know, because he likes when people come in on the pocket on him, you know, and the jab's meant to stick people and keep them on the outside so that they can't get inside. And Jermell Charlo, you know, because he's such a great counterpuncher, he likes people to get inside on him. He likes that, and then they open up, and then he has his opening for his looping shots or his uppercuts, you know, on the inside. So he likes that. So, but it's a give and take, man. He's gonna also, like I said, just be letting this guy bully him around a little, hit him to the body, you know, quite a bit probably, and then if those counter shots that he does land, you know, aren't able to sit Castano on his butt, we're kind of in trouble from there. We're kind of in trouble because he's not going to have enough output to be winning all these rounds. He's got to get knockdowns. You know, he's got to have 10-8 rounds in there. That is, if he doesn't just full on, you know, get Castano out of there. So anyways, that's kind of what I have to offer there. I just want to give you that would be the scenario. If Castano does win, it's going to be because Jermell Charlo simply didn't. Because it's going to be because Castano deserves it, and because Castano's a tough guy. But it's also going to be because Jermell Charlo brought it upon himself with not throwing enough punches, man, and just not winning and having these great moments. But it's like 1 moment, 2 moments in the whole fight, you know, out of 2 rounds in the whole fight. And that won't be enough when you don't get guys out of there and you're not getting the knockdowns as well for the 10-8 rounds. That's just not going to be enough, you know. But moving on, then we have Rolly Romero fighting on in the co-main event, and you know, God bless me, I don't remember. This is an off the cuff one. I just wanted to get back in here, jump in here, and do one of these as a quick one, mainly for this Jermell fight. But you know, I do know who Rolly Romero is, and Romero's a really great fighter, and this is a guy that you want to watch. This is a guy I've been watching for a while now. God bless me, I forget the name of his opponent, but you know, he should win. He should win this fight. I don't know who. I forget the name, but you know, I've seen the name and I don't know who he is. So, you know, he should win this fight. But the odds are interesting for it too. You know, as I said, as we were talking about the odds, you know, you got Rolly Romero. I would think he would be against a guy I've never heard of. Not that he's nobody just because I haven't heard of him, man. There's a lot of boxers out there. It takes a while to even get to know as many as I do now. So it's not like that. Like, well, if I don't know you, you're shit. But I'm just saying, if I don't know him, you would think that, and I know, and many people do know, or starting to know who Rolly Romero is. You know, you would think you'd get more of a kind of a minus 1,000 favorite. I've taken Rolly Romero in the fight because he's only, you know, you're getting him at like a minus 400 last time I checked, a couple days ago. And so that again is going to be a close fight. And you do also have some of these minus 2,000, minus 3,000 fights, which we parlayed on with these 2 other guys, and a UFC fight as well. To get some decent odds out of it there. They're always fun. Those minus 2,000, 3,000 fights, you know, don't get me wrong, it does happen every now and again, man, where somebody pulls some big upset. You just never saw it coming. I think a lot of times it's due to like the fighters, you know, fighting down to the level of their competition. You know, if you have a great fight and they're so favored in the fight, and they're almost given this kind of a setup, you know, because they're starting their career off, you know, and their management is doing well with them to place them in positions where they can get an impressive resume going. And that's when you're going to see these kind of, you know, matchups where you see negative, you know, 2,000 to negative 5,000, you know, favorites. But I think sometimes you do get upsets, and that's when they play down to the level of their competition, because they kind of believe the odds as well and just go, nah, maybe I don't need to train as hard this time, maybe the weight cut's hard enough. Maybe I'll just take some days off. I should be able to beat this guy. I think that's what happens when that happens. But it does. Upsets happen sometimes. But for the most part, when you get favorites of that magnitude, for the most part, at least 8 out of 10 times, if not really 9 out of 10 times, that's not going to happen. They're going to win. So they're nice to on the gambling side to throw in on parlays. You put 4 or 5 of those heavy favorites together of negative thousands, and you might get a plus 60 or something, and that's very safe. And then if you attach that to, something like this, Jermell Charlo at negative 250, Rolly Romero at negative 400 and negative 450, then you're going to get above, plus $100 into that kind of money, or even, close to plus $200. Because you can make a 10 fight parlay easy like that, and that's what I've done here. So we have those. That's for the boxing side of things. We have those, and the ones that I'm betting on in the UFC for tonight, UFC Vegas 31, 34, whatever the hell it is, obviously the main event. Islam Makhachev, we're gonna take him. He's at negative 600, which again, going back to the odds thing, that's enormous in MMA. You do not see things like that. You just don't. That's an enormous favorite, and I think rightfully so. Islam Makhachev's a great fighter. He has better standing. Call him the next Khabib. I don't know about that. But, we're just going to need to see that. You can't say things like that. The guy hasn't fought anybody, for God's sakes. His best win is Drew Dober, But he does look incredibly impressive. And I will say, obviously, having that kind of sambo, style like Khabib, training with Khabib, that Russian wrestling whole deal. He's quite impressive there. But also, he's better on the feet than Khabib, man. He is. But he's not, I don't think he's as powerful, hands down. He's just got a different body type. He's lankier, and as Khabib is at all. I don't think he's nearly as powerful, and I don't think he's nearly as good, period, on the ground. But he can kind of do different stuff because he has that lankier body type. So there's going to be some submissions and things like that because of his body type. That because of just being lankier like that, there's going to be some submissions and things like that are going to be more open for him even than Khabib. So just they're kind of different styles, but he's a hell of a fighter. He's fighting Thiago Moises, and Moises, I think, on like a 3-fight win streak, I think it is. I don't see how he wins that. God bless him. He's a cool dude. He's doing well for himself of late. And I'm sure that he even will have more to offer as well. It's not like this fight's going to put him. He's on a 3-fight win streak. And he could take one and he'll get another one, get back. But, yeah, Islam Makhachev going to beat this guy. Absolutely going to beat this guy. And then I think, we just need to see him fight better level of competition at this point. We need to kind of see what he's made of. Especially, like I said, people throwing out, Khabib references and all this shit. We don't know where the guy's at, dude, for God's sakes, this happens all the time. You gotta wait. We gotta see it. This goes back to my, I'm getting off the subject here, but this goes right back into my, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence thing, because I'm so high on Errol Spence, because of the resume, man. Resumes don't lie. They don't lie. They show who you fought. You can look and say, God damn, he has wins over this guy, that guy, that are great fighters. And it's like, yes, because the resumes don't lie. Then you have Terrence Crawford. He looks incredible, dude. You think I would be surprised at all if Terrence Crawford would beat Errol Spence? Not at all. Not at all, man. Terrence Crawford looks like an absolute monster. The eye test passes with flying colors. He gets guys out of there every damn time. But again, we have to see this stuff play out, dude. You can't say, I'm going to put Terrence Crawford above, Errol Spence Jr. Because of the way that dude, Errol Spence Jr. beat Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, everybody, dude. He's fighting Manny Pacquiao, and he's going to win that as well. God bless Manny Pacquiao. I don't want to count him out either. I could see him pulling off some crazy shit where I'm just like, dude, Manny Pacquiao is literally the greatest fighter of all time ever. But, yeah, the odds are, dude, Spence going to win that too and have that legend on his name. And then it's like, and Kell Brook, he took the belt off of beating, Kell Brook. That's how he won it, right? In Kell Brook's backyard, right? And stopped him and got fresh champion Kell Brook before having his cheekbones broken and his whole face broken and taking other losses along the way, and then Crawford gets an older, more broken up, Kell Brook and beats him, and that's his best win. It's just like, but anyways, yeah, so we got the, the jury's out on that. We gotta see. We got to see these things before we call him. So you can't call, Islam the next Khabib. You just got to, but he's a great fighter. And again, they're still not giving him that next level competition. I think this is a perfect setup for him to beat Thiago Moises. So I think he does that, gets that done quite well. And that's the other one that I have attached there to the parlay. So it's a pretty safe gamble, I think. And I think it was about 400 to win 600 altogether with the 2 parlays. But yeah, we're back, baby. Okay? We're back and better than ever. And then before I go, I did want to, where are we at here for time? Okay, I did want to touch on the Conor McGregor stuff too. Yeah, I love Conor McGregor, man. I'm an Irish man. I take a lot of pride in him. I think it's just phenomenal for what he's did for the sport. Everybody knows that. Even if anybody knows anything about the sport, a lot of people don't like him, and they know a lot about the sport, and that's fine. But even they know how much he's done for the sport, how next level, of a pay-per-view star that he is than anyone else. The gap is like insane, John Jones, John Jones and Amanda Nunes and all these people, like they don't even, it's not even like, oh, he's still better. They don't even like hold a candle to, they can't even break 1 million, pay-per-view buys, and Conor regularly does, and Conor Khabib was like 2.4 million, something like that. Conor had the Mayweather fight, all that. So I love Conor McGregor. So this kind of hurts me, man. But yeah, he's not washed. Can't call him just always all washed. But yeah, I don't see him winning a title again. But you never know too. You never know how things play out. But I'm also sick of this Dustin Poirier fight. I think Dustin Poirier is very, very likely the greatest lightweight that we have. And then he's gonna end up fighting Charles Oliveira. Very good chance he wins that. This time, he's just on such a roll. I just think that in any sport, not just in fighting, in combat sports, I just think like in any sport that you have your prime. People talk about it. So you have your prime, right? And they're your prime years. So everybody gets it. There is no, like Michael Jordan, they're great, right? They're the best athletes you've ever seen. It doesn't matter if they're always great. They still had a prime at some point. And then for athletes that gone way downhill, they had their prime before that happened. And, true greatness is outside of prime. That's the people I'm talking about, like Jordan, these things where, sure, they have their prime whenever that is, but they're great all around outside of it, before and after. They're still great, just not as good as that little window that every athlete gets, man. And, I think it's obvious to us, right, that Conor got... We knew this years ago, before the Dustin rematch. We knew this, man, if you really know what's going on. We knew this going into the Khabib fight even, which I was so stoked for. I still had high hopes and all that, but, we knew that Let's be real. Like, look at that incredible run, man. What made him famous? That incredible featherweight run, dude, of beating Dustin Poirier, beating Max Holloway, sparking Jose Aldo, and the guy was like undefeated for however many damn years, dude, in like 13 seconds. And then they're like, oh, that's lucky. Then he moves up and puts on an absolute clinic against Eddie Alvarez. You can't take that away from him, man. So we can, we can rest easy with that. That's his legacy, kind of. I just don't want to see him like tarnish his legacy. And I think that he does love fighting, and obviously the UFC still needs him, because Dana White's just like, well, we'll just Conor wants to have this Poirier rematch, so Poirier likes the money, so we'll just do like fucking 16 of these things until Conor wins one. Like, dude, the leg break was just so anticlimactic. It was so anticlimactic, and yeah, it leaves just so much, whatever, up for debate and stuff. But I think it's like, dude, that made me so sad, and was just like, yeah, dude, that's a shitty way for anyone, regardless if they're my favorite fighter, if I don't like them, that's always a shitty way to end a fight, especially because he's just stepping back on it himself, or it's like him throwing his own damn kicks too hard or at a weird angle against the elbow, whatever you think it is, like, that triggered an old injury, some shit. He basically like did it to himself. Now, he absolutely lost the round, and anything is possible in MMA, man. So that's why it's, anticlimactic. But I will say, dude, I think just Dustin Poirier he's getting his time now, where he's not the younger guy that Conor just fucked off, in the first fight. He is in his prime, dude. He's in his prime now, and he might be the best 155er in the world right now. And Conor McGregor just is not. He's just not. And I want to see Conor fight a cool fight, man, like a fun fight. I want to see Conor fight. There's so many options too, man. I want to see Conor Diaz 3. That's what I want to see. That they both want to do, that keeps talking, God, dude, do that. And Diaz lost, right? And that fight is just always there. Do that. Do Conor Ferguson. Dude, Conor Gaethje, that's a scary fight, okay? But Justin Gaethje's just like the little bus that could, just wouldn't, like the short bus that keeps coming. Dude, Justin Gaethje is such a savage. That's a scary fight, but even that, dude, at least it's fresh, it's new. And you know what? Justin Gaethje has looked more refined, of late, but he got dispatched pretty easily by Khabib, and I think he had kind of more of that rabid pace, like his old self, in that Khabib. So who knows? Like, he does still, he's known for, the Tony Ferguson fight was an exception, but it's very possible that he still gets a little too carried away with coming forward and being aggressive, that Conor could get. You could do that. You could do so many fights. I just want to see something new. I'm really done with the McGregor-Poirier stuff for now. At least get McGregor more wins. Get him not just even one more too, dude. Like, if he wants to keep fighting, give him some of these competitive fights. He could win them or lose them. And if he wins, let's say 2 more, then you're in a way better position. And then we're talking a year and a half, 2 years from now, as well, with 2 wins or so under his belt, then you maybe could set something like that. We need to stop this with the fucking, I'm the biggest Conor McGregor fan, dude, but we need to stop this with the whole, like, just being blind. And the complaint about the injury beforehand, it's like, dude, I don't think he's lying at all. He's so polarized, and people, like, there's no winning with him. Either he walks on water, and I believe everything that he says, or it's like, oh, fuck that guy because he's rude, and he's complaining about leg injury, he's probably lying, or dude, the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Like, dude, the leg injury thing is real. It's proven to be real. He had this injury. But then on the flip side, dude, we can't be like, wow, you had this injury going in. Dude, all these fighters got little injuries and little fucking, they got shit going on when they go into these fights. They all do. So we can't buy into every excuse. And it's like, oh, last time it was the leg. Now it's the leg again. You know, I don't want. And it's like, oh, don't shoot on me, though. You know, don't wrestle me. Yeah, dude, it's hard right now, you know? It's hard right now. But, yeah. I just think, you know, Conor's got plenty left in him to put on entertaining fights and to win fights. But we need to stop. You just want to tarnish his legacy. It's like, let's see him against Dustin again. Dude, I do think that let's just be real, dude. I want him to win more than anybody, dude. But let's just be real, dude. You put him, if your fucking life's on the line, dude. We've done 2 of these things back to back. You put him right back in there against fucking Dustin Poirier again. Are you seriously going to tell me that you think he wins that fight, dude? I want to be done with the Dustin thing, you know? It's okay to not fucking just tarnish your whole fucking legacy at the very end of your career like every fighter's done before. You know, BJ Penn, Mike Tyson, fucking Muhammad Ali, dude. Every fighter tarnishes their legacy before they realize maybe now that I've was undefeated and on top of the world and respected as the greatest fighter possibly ever. Now that I've taken enough losses that I have a 50-50 career, I think now it's time to hang it up. You know, dude, sometimes it's okay to hang it up before. But if you're not going to hang it up, dude, I don't want to see him fight fucking Dustin Poirier. Or they're like, maybe Khabib will come back and we'll do that again. Dude, I don't want to see that shit. Can we see him fight Nate Diaz? Can we see him fight Tony Ferguson? Can we see him fight some of these guys and get those guys paychecks that they very much want, dude? You know? That's it. That's my rant, dude. We're back, okay? We're back with a bang, and we're going to do more of these, and we'll do a reaction to coming up sometime this next week. We'll do a reaction for this weekend and what we talked about in the fights, and we'll get one going for next weekend as well, okay? And so until next time, stay loyal, fight fans. Hit that subscribe button, and yeah, y'all have a good day. This episode is sponsored by Bud Light.